Another interesting activity that we've done this year, in the context of the rewriting project, we decided at some point, although it was not initially planned as one of the outputs of the project, to develop a media monitoring tool that would remain as one of the main output of the project, available for researchers, for students, for professionals, for journalists, for unions, for training activities, but also for self-assessment from the side of the professional, so that we can get a better understanding of how we write stories, how we read stories, and how stories that pertain to women in politics can be told in a much better way, more fair, more responsive, more responsible, and certainly more equal. So the tool has been developed. It has been developed with the contribution of some experts, again Professor Karen Ross from Newcastle, Monia Azzalini from the Osservatorio di Pavia, and then two amazing colleagues that have been working with me over the last 2 years, Alice Baroni from the University of Padova and Lucia Vasquez from City University in London.
It was quite a dialogical process because we asked our students, again at the University of Padova, but also other institutions, to give us feedback on the tool as we were developing it. We asked them to have a look at a week of media coverage of politicians and to analyze how the women politicians specifically were represented according to a series of indicators that we developed for the media monitoring tool.
I think they were very thought-provoking. Like in terms of like the media monitoring tool had certain questions that we were like, oh, we actually have to think about that when we read the news, which we don't, like as communicators, we should know that. So it was super helpful in learning that kind of thing. And it was also nice that we got to give our suggestions, and the professors were very open in when we had something to say about a certain question, we didn't like it, or we didn't feel like it was very comprehensive of the answer. They were like very open to hearing our thoughts about it.
We divided the tool in 4 different sections, each one dedicated to different aspects of political reporting from a gender perspective. The first one is just basic information, as you can see here, title of the news story, the link, type of media outlet, etc., etc. Gender identity of the journalist, because we believe that's also an important aspect to consider, political inclination of the media. The next section has to do with gender awareness, the balance between the sources that are being consulted, what they're being asked about. The third section deals with gender representation from a multimodal perspective, specifically like asking those who conduct the analysis to implement a close reading of the images that accompany the stories, and the relationship between the images and the writing and the text itself, because very often the text itself can be, innocuous from a gender perspective, but the images that accompany the text carry ideological meanings that are very much linked to gender stereotypes, for example, that sexualize and objectify women. And the fourth section has to deal with the stereotypes specifically, because that we believe that is basically the main problem that women politicians face when it comes to media representation.
We found them very interesting since it's a new thing, like to contribute to the project itself. It's good, and it was really inspiring also for the project we did as a group. And yeah, I found them very, very inspiring and interesting.
And then this tool has been refined, and now there are 2 versions. One version is for journalists to use the tool for content monitoring, news monitoring, and there is another more detailed media monitoring tool, which is for students.